Sound recognition. Selected. Low power mode. Button. Play. Button. 9:05 p. Control set. Selected. Low power mode. Replay. Button. Speech off. Stop. Button.
So this is going to be a video about, listing all the aliens that Ben has that actually have a use if you use them correctly. Well, basically, this is going to be mostly about Ben 10 and how the reboot kind of is better than the original. Anyway, continuing on with this video.
Stop. Button.
Alright, so the first alien on the list, the first section is going to be about Ben 10 aliens, and the first alien we have coming up first, that if Ben had used them correctly, could have been his most powerful, starting with number 1, Blocks. Blocks is basically like this Lego gorilla transformation. I don't know the name of them all. I don't know the name of the alien types. I'm not that much interested into Ben, but his type can basically detach body parts and regenerate body parts, but they're blocks-like, and you can also make more and more of them and transform his shape. Ben could have also utilized these as projectiles too if he was ever collapsed. He could swing all the lost. He could throw all the last ones at the opponent while he regenerates. That would be cool. And from what I've then the other thing is Blocks could basically since he can completely keep regenerating infinitely, he could just if he wanted, he could just basically make himself a huge barrier around everything and keep regenerating and eventually create a box around the opponent. The next alien up that could have been used a lot better is Accelerate, the Speedster. Reboot Ben actually got some combat with him and actually knew how to use him in combat. Original Ben made this transformation easy to beat. If Ben had tried fighting more strategistic, or more smarter, or at least try to learn different things Accelerate could do. He could do a spin move like Sonic. No, not Sonic, Tasmanian Devil. And hit the opponent real hard in that if he was ever countered, an instant recovery thingy. The next alien up is Waybig. Waybig is, I know his transformation, but I can't be certain. He's basically the species that uses their height and strength and ultra powerful rays that are summoned from crossing their arms to defeat their enemies. Ben could have used him a lot better. There's a lot more combat skills he could have learned with the alien. He could do flips or things like that and strike the opponent instead of using brute force. Anyway, now let's get on to ultimate forms.
Cancel. Emergency. 0. Game folder. 5 apps. 23 new items. Play. Rewind. Play. Fast forward. Pause. Button.
The next chapter we have is Ultimate Forms. First up is Ultimate Blocks. Ultimate Blocks has huger blocks for his body. They are made out of steel, and they are only one color, black, because all those colors kind of are ice scorching. Even though they're my favorite part of his design, they're a little too ice scorching. So let's go for something a little more mellow and go with black. Anyway, with these harder steel blocks, you can use them as projectiles, like how the original blocks should have. And unlike the original blocks, he can turn them into explosives. And he can also make one of his blocks into a clone of himself that can duel the opponent. If Ben ever feared he would be able to lose in the duel.
Speech. Fast forward. Pause. Button.
The next ultimate form we have is Ultimate Terra Spin. Ultimate Terra Spin would be like somehow his shell transformed into like this weird shield around him, and he could basically spin as fast as the Tasmanian Devil, and which would make him into like basically an electronic.
Pause. Button. New recording. Pause.
And he would be able to like drill through anything, and his hits would do a lot more damage. And he'll also still keep his wind abilities, except they will be enhanced, and he can now create miniature tornadoes that can utterly destroy his opponents.
Pause.
The third ultimate form we have on the list is going to be Ultimate Accelerate. Ultimate Accelerate is going to have a prismatic shield on his back that he can use to generate magnetic fields to make him skid a lot faster on the ground and be able to
Pause. Button.
and be able to weight him down so he's able to do damage on the opponent, like ram him. And he also has a armor surrounding his body, adding extra endurance, and he can generate lightning bolts when he runs fast enough. And his strongest attack, he can jump real high. That's another ability. And when he's in the clouds, he focuses on
Pause. Button.
his opponent's he focuses on the particles around him, and he can draw energy from it, creating 4 huge lightning bolts that arc towards the opponent. That's his ultimate attack, and he'll only use this once. Next up is Ultimate Forearms. Ultimate Forearms will be made out of marble to give him more endurance.
Screen locked.
Instead of attacks being generated when he
Pause. But speech off.
slams his hands together, he can now summon them up at will just by thinking. He cannot move his body, but his body's like, because his body has no feeling or anything, he loses his ability to control it with the regular brain way. Instead, when he thinks all these moves, he imagines like himself in a video game or something, a simulator, and he's doing all these things, and the things he imagines in that small vision are things he does in real life. So in a way, it kind of is controlling, except he can't feel anything. So this guy could basically die without dying. So if this form was destroyed, Ben would still be alive, as the Omnitrix would also random shuffle through transformations to reboot him. But that's I'll mention more on that later. Anyway, the next ultimate form is Ultimate Goop. Goop is transformed into acid, living acid, so he can basically scorch the opponent, and he's able to make sludge bombs that can poison the enemy and work as explosives. And he's a bigger guy now. Alright, next up is a remake of Ultimate Way Big. Ultimate Way Big is turned from huge to small. And this is because I think him being huge
Speech on. Pause. Button. Speech on.
is a very big weakness. Because he could be knocked over. And he's kind of a little slow. So I'm going to make him smaller. The size of a cannon bolt. And his abilities include his prismatic rays now can regenerate multiple versions. He can basically summon multiple waves that summon miniature waves that summon even more miniature waves. Basically a never-ending assault. And he's given harder skin for durability. He can, run fast. He can force his rays down towards the ground to create a force field to deflect enemy attacks. And he has a death grip ability where you can strangle the opponent. If the opponent is stronger than him, his strangle attack will turn from a strangling to a seeping energy. And this is done by his hands. And this ability is generated from the Omnitrix as a theory from me later on. And the next one is an improved Ultimate Echo. So we keep the abilities of Ultimate Echo, the giant wave bomb, his increased sonic waves. We're just going to make his clones be able to, his conscious is thrown out throughout the clones. We're going to make it so that when a clone is damaged or killed, he doesn't feel the pain. But if his original body's killed, another clone can be used as his original body, and he basically can't completely die. An effect of this ability, though, however, is in the new clone's conscious, he loses, some of his knowledge of fighting. So basically, the more this transformation lives, the more stupid Ben gets, to the point where he can basically do nothing, because Echo's boss already, and we can't make him too overpowered, can we? More on that later. And let's see, other abilities are his clones can generate more. His clones can generate clones themselves, and those clones are basically exploding clones. If they are hit by an enemy attack, or they use a high frequency sound attack, they will explode, and their explosions cause other clones to explode. So if he wanted, he could basically destroy a whole enemy without sending himself into the battle. Then for the main body, technically when he switches to clone to save his consciousness, this ability will stay. But he has a obsidian shield around the Omnitrix, because this Ultimate Echo, the sound waves can destroy the device. So that's just generated there as a precaution for the device, which is more on that later. And he can summon not only sound wave energy, but supersonic waves and magnetic waves that can completely disable the opponent and rip them to shreds. He's also given enhanced strength. He is given more weight, so when he uses his magnetic ability, he's automatically set to pulverize his opponent by using the magnetic field to pull him forward and weight him down, so he can body slam the opponent with tremendous force. And since he is already heavy, that attack's gonna come with a price. He will be disabled. The clone switching thing will be useful for this, because that'll undo the effects with the next clone. But the But when he does this, he can't go back into the original body. Then he also has a steel rod that is inside of his body in the center that generates a light energy that will explode from his body, will emit from his body, and this energy can kind of like, it acts like mana, sort of. And this can either cause shields to form or increase the size of his waves. And this is brought out when he focuses hard enough on the opponent. He doesn't care about, he just lets his instincts take over. Now, the final ultimate form is going to be, let's see here. I've nearly gone through all my ultimates. Well, not even, but let's do ultimate upgrade. So, out of nowhere, Ben gets back upgrade. Now, ultimate upgrade is turned into a literal robot completely, and it has no consciousness, but since Ben is using a watch to go into this, it has a consciousness. The reason for this is because its AI was destroyed when the update went wrong, and this caused, but the update came with a lot of features, including he can focus his ability to enhance devices on himself to make himself like a one-man army. He can shoot missiles from 3 cannons that are positioned with one on the chest and the other 2 on his shoulders. He can generate electrical waves that cause a frequency in the air to create some sort of magnetic shield that deflect bullets and electrical attacks. And he can also use this ability to make the opponent's attack rush over him. And yeah, he can also make little mini insect-like thingies that he can use as explosives to like do a distanced attack. And his arms can come off his body like boomerangs. His legs have springs in them to make him jump high to evade attacks. And he's also given he's given a thicker, he's given a shell-like substance that can move with his body into different positions to keep him, and this will keep him safe. Extra endurance, basically. That's the final ultimate. Now on to my next theory. So, in a video I watched, and from my own experience, apparently the full alien type that Upgrade has a lot more abilities than Upgrade does when he's used by Ben. And I think that's because the Omnitrix adds abilities to the aliens and can also take away abilities. The aliens that follow are because of this. Number 1 is obviously Ghost Freak. Ghost Freak can control his enemies, however, when he's used by Ben, he cannot. The next one up is, let's go with an Upgrade so far to my knowledge. Upgrade
9:25 p.m. Status
can't do that much in a duel.
Current
He
position,
just can't.
19 minutes, 23 seconds.
The aliens I think have increased abilities are Tetramans, which are this alien species of 4 arms. The male ones are supposed to be weaker than the female. but Ben was able to defeat a female Tetraman with his basically male forearms transformation. And I think that's because the Omnitrix added an extra strength boost to it. And Ben also has he's made for that transformation. Anyway. And others that have increased abilities are Echo as well. Because, man, that transformation is powerful. If you can't tell, I like Echo and blocks. Anyway, next chapter. The next bit of this video is going to be, let's see. Explaining why I like Echo the most. Echo is a Soma Sapien. These beings use sound wave frequencies to disable the opponent, and they can manipulate atoms and molecules to make shapes in the air. The reason I think this form is so cool is it can also generate clones of itself that, when damaged, don't cause any harm to the original owner, which I think is sweet. And these clones can also work together and an army and cause a huger attack. This form also has multiple attack positions. The ones to my knowledge are Sonic Doom when he uses in his ultimate form the bomb. Let's see here. Wall of Sound, which he uses against Kevin, and that attack did a lot of damage. Dang. And then he also has the Echo Storm. Echo's attacks do a lot of damage, no matter how strong the opponent. And that is why I call him Boss and the strongest one, because he can basically do a lot of damage, a lot of damage before he's taken out. A bunch of Ben's aliens can't even do anything if an opponent's stronger than them. Echo can do so much. And then blocks. Well, first off, I started with Ben 10 when Omniverse was out, okay? I saw it on TV. I was born in 2008. So I didn't know any of the shows before it. But my favorite transformation was Blocks. Mainly because, like I said, his color design, the fact that he can regenerate blocks on himself, that means he can take so many hits like a man. And he is basically, the voice they chose for him is so funny to hear. It's a high-toned, gravelly voice. So funny to hear. And I also liked, every time he came in, even though he was defeated, he was able to put up a fight. So, yeah. That's why I like him. Back to Echo. Echo, my favorite transformation. I think if Ben utilized him better, as in, I have a feeling Echo can generate more and more sound waves. And if Ben used that ability, he could basically completely and utterly give the person he was attacking the most massive of all headaches, causing him to have amnesia, or just reboot his brain completely. And then, yeah. That's all in this chapter. The next chapter we have is basically the Omnitrixes that have been used and why a certain one is my favorite. First off, we have the prototype Omnitrix. The prototype Omnitrix was sent down to Earth by Azimuth so that it would not fall into the wrong hands. As we all know, it fell into a little kid's hands. Anyway, this device was just a normal, it had 10 transformations. It didn't have that many modes, and yeah. But this is the most iconic one, as it has the most, a couple of the aliens from, the original prototype have stayed in, the Omnitrix and have appeared in many times. These transformations include Accelerate, Grave Matter, Cannon Bolt, Wild Vine has not came back in a long time, and Forearms. The other ones, except for Wild Mutt, have been deleted from the Omnitrix completely. Except for Diamond Head, I forgot he existed. But anyway, the next set is the next, I think, improved Omnitrix. It came with the transformations Alien X, a world manipulator, Swamp Fire, a fusion of Wild Vine, Forearms, and Heat Blast, to my opinion, because he's good at close range fighting and skilled at using his fire at the right times. And a couple others like Amphibian, the Lightning God, Brainstorm, the replacement of Grave Matter, Fast Track, the slower and weaker form of Accelerate, Echo, my ultimate favorite, and a bunch of others that I can't bring up. I think, yeah. Then the next watch we have coming up is the Ultimatrix. The Ultimatrix had a crystal inside of it that was used to activate the ultimate mode, which would throw the DNA of the alien that you are transforming into a life-threatening situation, improving its abilities. This allowed it to become stronger. Ben has only unlocked 8 of them, and that's a big disappointment. Anyway, these ultimate forms include Ultimate Way Big, Ultimate Humongousaur, Ultimate Big Chill, Ultimate Wild Mutt, Ultimate Echo, Ultimate Swamp Fire, Ultimate Spider Monkey, and finally, Ultimate Way Big. Alright, the next watch we have up is the complete Omnitrix. Asmit finally finished the Omnitrix, and the final one, I'd say, is the weakest one, because it's so updated that it has its own mind. It'll choose the aliens that Ben should use. It also comes with new aliens, including an oldie, apparently, Feedback, an alien who can absorb electricity from anything and shoot it outward. He's the best choice to use against the Mechamorphs, the type of alien that Upgrade is. Met Gravitack, a planet alien that can use gravity as his weapon. Blocks, the transforming regenerating god, and a couple others that I don't know about. But it basically has all of his transformations loaded into it, and it'll randomize through all of them. This Omnitrix also regenerates power pretty quickly, and if Ben decides to not push it to a transformation, it'll give him a pretty good strong one. Reboot Omnitrix. The Reboot Omnimatrix is an Omnitrix that ended up in the blue dimension that isn't developed right. In this dimension, Ben is more smarter with it, even though he rarely uses it for his own personal game, but he mainly uses it to defeat bad guys no matter what. These aliens include Overflow. The new additions to the team include Overflow. That's basically all. And then it has the rest of the transformations from the original Omnitrix, except for Ghost Freak, who was replaced with... Honestly, I can't remember what he was replaced with. Anyway, actually, let's narrow down the list of the aliens he has. He has Forearms, Heat Blast, Upgrade, Accelerate, Grave Matter, Diamond Head, Cannon Bolt, Overflow, Stinkfly, Wildvine. This Omnitrix, if you mess with the dial, it'll either upgrade the aliens or create horrible transformations. But the horrible transformations have only came in one episode. The plus side to this Omnitrix is it only uses electricity to power itself, not a battery. It does use a battery. It also uses radio frequencies to transform, which gives it a big disadvantage. The key, if placed in a certain way, will unlock a armor transformation that he can generate, which will increase the power of his aliens, give him a rocket punch ability, and when he uses the armored versions of his transformations, when it runs out of time, and it runs out quickly, it'll quickly regenerate energy for the next one. It also, if pressed upward, can use extra aliens. And throughout the show, they watch just updates with different aliens, including Humongosaur, way big. I think Monkey's in there somewhere. I don't think so. Raph, the overpowered tiger, and Freeze Lizard, and a bunch of others, including Shockrock. Next chapter is which Ben is strongest, in my opinion. The strongest Ben, in my opinion, is Reboot Ben. Reboot Ben, even if he's in a new transformation, it does not take him long to learn the main ability of the alien. In fact, as soon as he got Overflow, he knew how to use his water abilities, and it was by mistake that he learned he could breathe underwater. And it was cool how he instantly adapted. He can instantly adapt to his aliens. It doesn't take long for him to learn a couple attacks, which I think is an upgrade from the original Ben, because the original Ben had to learn his abilities, unless the Omnitrix worked and taught him it. Reboot Ben just reacts automatically, which I think is cool, and basically better than how the original can use it. And then his reboot Omnimatrix, the key is a great way, because the original Ben's Omnitrix, if it was messed with the dial, it would make it so it would randomize the aliens instead of giving you the one you selected. The reboot Omnimatrix, however, does not randomize your aliens. And the fact that he has this armored form that can, regenerate energy real quick. It's multiple attacks after multiple attacks. And he can also enter the armored form outside of Alien 2, which is sweet. And I think his way of fighting is great with Accelerate. So that's why he's better. And then, yeah, that's basically all of this one. Next chapter in is going to be aliens I've created for the watch. Alright, so I created some aliens for the watch. Number 1 is, I call him Crumbler. This overaged alien is an alien race that are descendants from the Tetramans. These creatures, being old, have a lot of agility, and their abilities are increased agility, enhanced strength, speed, quick wits. He also has super motility or super mobility, which makes his movements real quick, and he can take down multiple opponents at once. And he is given a really strong ability where he can increase the thickness of his skin to add endurance and strength. Next transformation, the Terraman. The Terraman transformation, Shadow Man. The Terramans are the ancestors of the Tetramans. These creatures are basically made out of dark energy. They can turn from physical to non-physical element at once. They can strangle opponents to death. They have great close-range combat. And the reason these species turned into forearms is because one time a species that had light abilities planned to take out the Terramans as they are weak to light abilities. Since Terraman can use dark energy, they can also go into shadows to regenerate health, but they still lost many members, and the last 20 learned how to completely keep their physical form, and this turned them into the Tetramans, and in these new forms, they beat back the light users and completely pulverized them. Next up is Liquidus. Liquidus is a gooey miniature version of Goop. His species are going to be called Aerometropolins. The Aerometropolins can move real quickly, and in their home planet, there are diseases everywhere and gases and all that stuff that can kill them, and they developed a endurance against this stuff. So if he was ever trapped in a sewer, he could whip out this guy. They also can increase their size. They do not fall apart when they are hit. They absorb hits and instantly turn back to their normal shape, like gods. And they have enhanced strength, enhanced agility, super mobility, or motility, whatever it's called, whatever you're going to call it. And they can also detach their bodies into 3 versions of themselves. So they have 3 consciences commanding itself. Next up is Psionics. Psionics is the ultimate ancestor, is like the ancestor of Echo and Ditto. Psionic species is called Myomulti million multi.
Current position.
Let's just call them the multi-million.
Button. Replace. Done. Button. Record. Duration. Select. Dictate. Button. Search. Edit. Button. Record. Duration. Select. Dictate. Search. Edit. All voice memos. All edit. New recording. Text field. Actions available. Record. Button. Duration. 43 minutes, 37 seconds. Actions available. Screen recording in progress. 9:45.